Yeah, I thought when we guarded him in the half court, when we got him set, we were really, really good defensively. Where we struggled was, and I talked about it post game. A lot of times you say something, then you go back and watch, and you're wrong. But I think the things that we thought that we needed to grow from in that game were very apparent on film as they were when they were live. So it was getting back, loading the defense. A couple really unacceptable ones after made baskets where they beat us down the floor when we didn't funnel the ball to the middle. And then the offensive rebounds. They were 1.91 points per possession on second chance opportunities. That's a crazy number. So if you finish off possessions, it doesn't come down to the last possession of the game. Plenty of positives. I thought our ball movement was terrific. I really thought we shared it, and they pressured us. Their length, their athleticism, and have a 24-10 assist to turnover ratio was pretty darn impressive. So a lot of things we can grow from, but certainly a lot of positives as well. Yeah, Oogie's been good. He a couple days ago had his best practice of the year, and we were careful with him. We were very light with him that following day, where basically he did all non-contact drills. We were off yesterday, and then he was back on the practice court today. So we'll see how he feels tomorrow, and then hopefully we can get him out there. We're not going to play him a lot on Monday, but hopefully we can get him out, shake some rust off, and get that first experience in front of the fans before the opener.
With the different level of competition coming in here, what are you hoping to see most with this team on Monday?
Yeah, I mean, I was impressed, and in talking to Tyler, he loves his team and thinks that they'll compete for a championship in their league. And I was really impressed with what I watched. They played their exhibition game, and they really got out in transition. They had 38 in transition, and they shot 42 free throws. So listen, there's a lot of Nebraska kids on that team, and a lot of them that have played in this building. And I know they're going to come in here and want to play well. So as we've talked to our team, I don't care who you're playing against. You got to prepare the same way. You got to go out there when you're on the court and make a positive impact on the team. And you have to continue to go out and play unselfishly. And we have to be better at a lot of the things that we struggled with in the BYU game. So again, another good opportunity to get out in front of our fans in the ultimate goal of getting ready for the opener on November 3rd.
For you and the staff this week to emphasize the positive, like, hey guys, we can be this good as we showed against BYU, but also keep their egos in check at all?
Well, believe me, we've been on them pretty hard, and we had a lengthy film session. We just the biggest thing we talked about, we can't get comfortable, and you go out and you have a great performance, you knock off a top 10 team, and a lot of that is we made 16 threes. Rink goes 7 for 8. Rink's not going to go 7 for 8 every game. I hope he does. If he does, we're pretty damn good. But we have a lot of things that we need to be better at if we want to compete at a high level. You can't just rely on the ball going in the basket and shoot almost 50%. And again, there a lot. Listen, the length, the athleticism, the size that we played against was so good for us in that first game. And then to learn, some of the situation stuff. Sam fouling 90 feet from the basket on that last possession to give them 2 free throws to cut it to 1. A couple things from a situational standpoint that was good to work on, as opposed to, maybe winning by double digits. It was great to have the opportunity to work on a last possession to get a stop. We missed the rebound. We lost a game like that last year. So, to get the opportunity to work on it against a great team was very beneficial. But believe me, we've done everything we can to not allow these guys to get comfortable, and we need to come out and play well on Monday. I'm sure there's going to be still a lot of things we need to clean up. We're still trying to figure out rotation. We'll probably play at least 12 in the game with Oogie out there on Monday and see where things go and try to get our rotation set for November 3rd.
The 5 for 5, there's being shelved for next year. Does that change how you look at Mayo or Quentin as far as potential redshirts? Just not looking at 5 for 5.
Yeah, it's great to have clarity on the rule. I'll start with that. In a era and a time where we don't get a lot of clarity sometimes on things, it's good to know that it's not going to be right, at least right now, 5 for 5. And next year I'm sure it'll be back on the table, and we'll see what happens with it. But it's nice to know that we're going to have to replace a lot of really high-quality players that have played a lot of minutes in our rotation. As far as the red shirt, we'll make that decision based on what's best, yes. So it does change it, Robin. If it's 5 for 5, obviously that takes the red shirt out of play. but we'll do what's best for these guys and their futures.
We're on Price here in a little bit. Just what have you seen his like acclimation over the past few months? How have you seen him get more comfortable?
Yeah, a completely different system as it is for most guys that transfer in and out. They're going to go play in a completely new environment, and I've been really impressed with his IQ and how he caught up. There's still some things, when to cut, when to slash, those type of things. It was very random when you play a motion offense like he has the last couple of years. So, we want him hunting his shot, obviously. We think he's one of the best shooters in the country. And, he had a couple early in the BYU game. He's going to knock those down. And he's a very confident player. His size, we've really challenged him on his rebounding to go in there and help when we're playing against the longer, more athletic teams, when Rinks and BK and Leo and Oogie are going to be, tangled up with some, big, strong athletic players. Our guards have to go in there and help, and Price at 6'7" needs to be one of those guys. But as far as, a kid that's come in and, he's been awesome to work with. He comes in ready to go every day. He doesn't have off days. And, he's a worker. So, yeah, it fits everything we're trying to do from a culture standpoint. I've been really impressed with Price and his overall demeanor.
What about Braden Freger? What'd you see from him? I thought he was pretty active on that end of the floor.
Yeah, I thought Braden, even though he didn't score, I thought he had a tremendous impact on that win. And that's something we've talked to Braden about is, your impact on the game shouldn't be whether the ball goes in the basket. It should be rebounding, athleticism, going in and playing with force. He's one of the more athletic players. I know I've talked about that on this roster, and we put him in there in that last possession to help us get a stop, and he played the possession really well on the defensive end. So his shot's going to fall. He's a guy that is incredibly skilled and talented on that offensive end. But I was really happy to see Braden impact that win, even though the ball didn't go in the basket.
How was it challenging to play in college?
Say it again. Yeah, we got the challenge. We got the first look.
Are you still kind of figuring out how you're going to manage that, or is that reversed?
Yeah, we are. We've got our challenge guy behind the bench, and I've talked to Jack about it. He's behind the bench with the Spurs, and they've got a guy that sees if they really should challenge it. And our guy, Kale, was very adamant that he did not, or no, it was BK. BK was very adamant he did not touch the ball, which I'm a little worried about with BK sometimes. But yes, when they came over and said, "I promise you, Coach, I didn't touch the ball," and then they reversed it. So it was good. It was a good possession for us. It worked. We kept our challenge, and it's an interesting rule change. You just got to be strategic on when you're going to use it. You probably don't want to use it in the first couple minutes of the game, and if you're wrong, then you don't have it the rest of the game. So yeah, it's. We'll see how it goes.
I have a big picture question. With you guys scheduling BYU, they have another big exhibition game. There's a lot of exhibition games this week around the sport that wouldn't have been able to be in public, I guess. Just what do you think that rule change can do for the sport moving forward and having high caliber exhibition games?
Yeah, it's great. And, next year we're going to get a true road test by returning the game back to Provo. And, I know in talking to Coach Painter, they always want to go on the road in their exhibition and get that experience of doing it. And, we thought it was great for our fans to see, it was most likely going to be the number one pick in the draft. So that was a really great experience for our fans to see that and, get the opportunity to go back on the road. I think, the in-state game is, it's great. It's going to be good for Midland. Financially, we're able to help. And, again, come out and compete against kids that love this state. And, it's going to be, again, a good opportunity to get out in front of our fans again. But, yes, to play against top-level talent like we were with BYU, it's going to greatly benefit us down the road, once we start playing against the high-major opponents.
There's a lot of coaches this week kind of expressing frustration and concern about some of the way that the game is headed with like G League players now being able to recruit international pros and all that thing.
Yeah.
I guess what's going to be your take on the state of college basketball and the way that
I think the biggest thing, all of us, we just want to know. You want to know the rule. You want to, hopefully, if they're talking about a rule change, so you can get out in front of it. And there's a player that made a couple $1 million playing professional basketball that's playing on a college roster this year. At the end of the day, it just seems like the goalposts keep changing. And, what's best for the kids at the end of the day? And, I've been hearing some of the comments as well. What does it do to high school recruiting when you have the opportunity to recruit pros onto your roster? We're still unsure of revenue sharing and NIL deals, and how is that going to impact the ability to bring in G League players, or you see an influx of international players playing in college as opposed to starting their professional career because they can make more money over here. But at the end of the day, we got to put our heads together and figure out what's best for the kid. Because again, high school recruiting, what's it going to do to the high school kids at the end of the day? We want clarity. That's we didn't really hear about this and we talk to our compliance department all the time. We have great communication with them. So, it's hard. It's a really weird, unique time to be a college basketball coach and what's going on in our sport. But at the end of the day, we just want clarity. I'll just leave it at that.
For a follow-up for clarity, with those G League guys who do have eligibility now, how was that communicated to you, or was it at all communicated to you?
Yeah. I mean, we talked to our compliance about it a couple, just when all the noise was out there, and yeah. And then the next question is, are you going to be able to go college, play in the G League, and come back to college? So there's a lot of unanswered questions right now that and then I don't know. I'll leave it there, Amy. Yep. Thanks, guys.
Everyone's ready. We'll open the floor for questions. It's just how's it been going over the past few months with just acclimating to a new place? I guess more specifically a new system. Where do you feel that you've grown and gotten more comfortable?
Yeah. Obviously, it's a very different system than what I was used to, but being recruited, right out of the portal, you know, I kind of knew what their offense was about, and just playing against them for 2 years. But getting acclimated was, you know, it was different, like I said. But you know, just watching film and getting a lot of reps in practice, it's been a pretty good transition, I'd say.
How long do you think it took before you got comfortable, or is that still progress?
I mean, yeah, it's a everyday thing. You know, get better and better at that. Just learn the system and where to be, and you know, I still make mistakes out there, obviously. So just continue to learn the system and you know, do the best I can with it.
I know you said part of the draw was being able to show that there's more in your game, just being the catch and shoot guy.
Yeah.
Coach was just talking about your role, crashing boards, getting to the rim,
Yeah.
doing more than just shoot threes. I guess how much have you embraced kind of doing more things than just a corner three?
Yeah, I've talked about it before. Like they recruited me out of high school. They knew what I could do. So when they recruited me, I knew that's what they expected me to do, and that's what they wanted me to do, and that's what was so intriguing about coming here, along with a lot of other things, obviously. But just having that bigger role and having the confidence to know I can do those things is big too.
What kind of jump would you like to make this year? You know, you're in line to start, like you did at Iowa, like a little bigger role. I guess what kind of jump would you like to see yourself?
Yeah, you know, obviously being really aggressive, and my goal for myself is, you know, aside from the team goals, is to you know, be an all Big Ten guy. So I know you got to get better at a lot of things to get to that level, but you know, that's a goal for me this year.
A lot of talk about the shooting in the BYU game, but when you look at things that you need to work on and fix as a team and individually, what are some of the things that jumped out to you?
Yeah, being in the right position defensively is a big thing for our whole team. Every possession is really important that we work together as one. So it's continue to work on that, continue to be in the right places. You know, see the cuts that we're supposed to make on offense, and the flashes and all that stuff is really important too.
Do you see a difference in the number of shooters you're playing, but then just how much do you feel a difference in like having more space?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every single person on our team can shoot the three ball, so that makes it a lot better for spacing, and just frees up a lot of space for everybody, and whether that's driving or just shooting. So it's been great. Yeah.
Specifically goes off like that. What can that do for you guys?
Oh, I mean, they gotta close out to him on the big. You know, we were running that pick and pop, and they were late getting to him, and so they got to rotate to him, and that can, you know, lead to shots for other guys. So you know, it was pretty amazing watching Rank do that. Hope we can do that every game.
Defensive end, what's it like learning and just kind of going through everything with Coach Linzer?
Yeah, it's a completely different system than what we did at Iowa, and it's great for me. I've watched a lot of film and talked to Nate a lot about, you know, the stuff, and it was a grind in the summer for sure. A lot of different stuff, and but I feel like I'm getting better every day, taking the steps I need to, and continue to get better every day at it.
Why do you think it's a great fit for you?
It's more of a team, everybody 5 as 1. So it's not as much, you know, I'm probably not going to be able to guard the best of my ability one-on-one versus these quick, you know, athletic guys. So having help and really just communicating, communication's a big part, and I feel like I'm getting really good at that with our team. So yeah, just 5 as 1 really.
We haven't talked since the how was it like for you? They played this arena before, but you're always wearing a different color jersey.
Yeah.
How was it like to wear Nebraska jersey, play in front of Nebraska crowd in a game exhibition?
It was amazing. Felt amazing. It felt really different, honestly, than, you know, being the home team compared to coming on the road here. Like, it just felt like a completely new arena, which was good. So it was awesome. The fans were awesome, and looking forward to getting a lot more games here.
What that's like coming here as an opponent versus what it's like.
Yeah, we talked about that. He said the same thing, and then he also talked about going back to Madison. He said how just different it felt. So we'll see how Iowa is.
Questions for Bryce?
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everybody.